Well, let's continue on with Divine Right, the book that just left no real permanent kind of mark on me when I read it, outside of the fact that Jim Lee did it. And we all know the story. Jim Lee wanted to, he'd just come back from doing the Heroes Reborn thing and the Fantastic Four and all that stuff. And I guess he decided he wanted to do an entire series written by himself, like not working for another writer, not even his best homie, Brandon Choi. He just wants to write the entire thing himself. I mean, why not? If you've got a career like Jim Lee, why would you not take the opportunity to stop and at least once do the entire writing on your own? And he comes up with Divine Right, which has a few moments of interest, but ultimately it doesn't really hold up for me almost at all. Again, there's a couple moments that are kind of fun. So we get the cover. This is Devin, the dude in the background, and then the girl, it's the sister of the main character. I forget her name. Jenny Faraday. He's Max Faraday. She's Jenny. That's his sister. So they're in their underwear. They're in some kind of a pool on some alien world. And there's, oh my God, this is a Jim Lee comic. So what do they have to fight? Giant lizard creature. Jim Lee loves his lizard monsters. Gives a whole breakdown of the characters and previously. But basically, they're on the way. Max Faraday, he's got these powers that got downloaded into his brain, into his soul, and if he's able to access them and use them, he's going to be almost godlike power. So now everyone's after him, but all he is after is his online girlfriend who he's never met, Susanna, and because the bad guys found out who she was, so they went and kidnapped her. So now everyone's after Max, but Max is trying to go find her. So once I flipped this book open, again, I hadn't read this in years and years. I was like, oh shit, right. This is actually kind of interesting. There's an interesting element. I don't know that there's any need to have 30 panels on a page here. And it's only 2 pictures. The one shot of her face, like silent looking down, and then down here where she kind of clicks on and says, "It has begun." They're kind of making it seem like, because Void's always been kind of like not always, but her characterization has kind of become somewhat of like a robotic, almost computer-like thing, and it's really driven home here, how she's like offline. And it's just to show that she's just sitting there silently for a long time, and then suddenly she activates. So it's visually interesting because you just have to grid this shit out and copy paste your one drawing 29 times and then draw the other one. So that's interesting. I don't know I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like, is that necessary? Whatever. It's visually interesting, but I really like this next shot. This is Void, and you'll see that she's just floating in the air. This door opens and she's just floating through the scene. And she's here, and then in the panel 2, she's more in the middle, and in panel 3, she's farther towards the right as she floats to another door that opens. And as she floats through the scene, they're walking by various members of the Wildcats. You got Voodoo and Spartan talking and flirting and all this type of stuff going off to have some fun. You've got Grifter telling a joke to, this is Maul and Warblade. Maul thinks it's funny. Warblade just kind of gives a quiet chuckle, and then she just slowly floats out the door. I'm like, visually and characterization wise, that's actually kind of interesting. I don't know why. I kind of like it. She just floats through the scene. Everyone else is having like human moments, but this floating silver hot-bodied babe who's kind of like a computer, she activates and just floats by them as if they don't even exist. And we get to a pretty awesome double-page spread as she floats out to the top of the building. There she is, all shiny and silver and, boobs and hips and everything. And this character, Providence is her name. She's been part of the Wildstorm universe for a while. She's like a flip side to the coin of Void. Good and bad, but they're kind of the same type of characters and powers and whatever. But Providence says, I come in peace. And Void says, I sensed your arrival. I trust you have had the same visions. And Providence says, indeed, disturbing to say the least. There are forces in motion beyond our control. A young boy unknowingly seeks to become the third. And Void says, perhaps he is the one. Do you fear him? And Providence says, yes, as do you. If he is the one, the repercussions could be severe. So Providence continues saying, I propose a truce and an alliance until the truth is found out. Void says, an alliance of convenience? Very well. Where is he now? And Providence says, not on this world, but above. Like heaven? Which is where the last issue kind of implied they teleported away, and they ended up in a place that all these other characters that Max Faraday here is with, that are not in the scene right now, they're in a place that they call basically heaven. Not like any kind of standard heaven that you would ever seen in like biblical stories where it's like clouds and harps and angels and shit, but it's just this weird fantastical alien land. Who knows what it is? But they're like, what is the prophet's name? And they're like, Faraday, Max Faraday. So then you got Christine Blaze, the warrior girl who's been part of the group. She's like, what's wrong? And he just kind of reiterates that he's like, dude, just the day before yesterday or however long it's been, everything's been so crazy. He says, literally, I'm going to read it word for word. He says, I was a retard pizza delivery boy trying to make it through college. He says, now I'm the new Messiah standing on the proverbial mountaintop in the kingdom of heaven, all because of some damn thing I downloaded from the internet of all places. So there's kind of a breakdown of the basics of the story. And Christine Blaze, she's like, get over yourself, kid. Appearances are not what they seem. Whatever that means. So story and pictures are Jim Lee. Inks are Scott Williams with thanks to Alex Garner. Alex Garner was a great inker. That's a good guy to bring along. So now we're going to get the big double-page spread to take an exposition dump all over us. Just a lot of like back and forth about stories about how things happen and where all this power come from. It's not interesting. And even for a double-page spread, I mean, it's just kind of a boring shot of the side view of hot girl and dude. But it just kind of... This is amongst my least favorite Jim Lee drawings. There's nothing wrong with them, but considering the interesting stuff I've seen him do, this is far from it. And I've said this before. See these little wavy lines as if to imply kind of a sheen in the hair? This is like a J. Scott Campbell thing that Jim Lee was picking up on and trying to replicate, and it does not fucking work. It looks so weird. I don't like it at all. He cannot make it. I've said this before. That magic that Campbell has, Jim Lee does not. But, just explaining a bunch of stuff about, oh my God, all these horrible things are going on, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then more da-da-da-da, explaining. And then we kind of talk about these three characters, Exotica, Tobruk, and Brandy. And so they are called the Fallen. And so Faraday is like, well, how do the Fallen fit into this history lesson? And so Christine Blaze says, well, look at them, Max. They think they're fallen angels from heaven, that this place is called the Hollow Realm. Truth is, our scientists named this place the Hollow Realm, as in holographic projections. Your projections are nothing more than electromagnetic images given form and substance by the creation wheel. Works of fiction, really. So Faraday's like, so you're saying someone just made them up? That can't be true. So she gestures towards them and tells him, he says, test for yourself. Exotica has been teaching you the art of energy manipulation. Look at them for what they really are. So Faraday kind of manifests his powers, and I guess it kind of looks like liquid metal forming all over his body. So you get this shot of him holding his hands together as if holding the little energetic projections, this panel actually of the characters, in his hands. And he says, you're right, I can see it. He can see that they are masses of energy, holograms, that they're not real at all. So once I was reading this, I'm like, holograms? How the fuck does this fit into like this otherworldly god power? Holograms? I'd rather they were characters that were fallen angels from heaven. That's way more interesting than holograms. I'm like, what the fuck are we... Who knows? Let's see how this will all turn out. But he can see there's a little energy glow around them. He can see it when he focuses. He's like, well, now look at your own hand. See the difference? Bottom line, only you Devin and your sister and me are human. Keep that in mind during this little adventure. So again, the hologram people, you can see a little glow around them. And she's saying, you, your sister, your buddy, and me, meaning her, Christine Blaze, are the only humans here. So Max turns and looks at her, and she's like, what? What are you looking at? And you see that she has that same energy glow around her, which, if you've been paying attention to the story, that was established that she was resurrected from being violently murdered. But when she walked away, her physical body was still laying on the slab at the morgue. So now we cut back to Brandy and Exotica, and here comes Christine Blaze, and she's pissed. You scumbags. She punches them, and they kind of stop her. They're like, what the hell's your problem? She says, what did you godforsaken monsters do to me? And they're like, we had to do what was necessary. Nothing more, nothing less. We had no hope without you. So Exotica, she starts saying, she says, if there's blame, if you need to spread blame, it's for me. I was the one who rekindled your spirit. Your corporeal body still remains on earth, but it lies cold and lifeless, never to rise again. Now, you will never age, never die, but you must serve the will of God until time immemorial. That's a great shot. I actually really dig that shot. That looks neat. And Christine's like, damn you, Helda guys, there's no God. And they're like, blasphemer, only when you accept the word of God will you find the peace you desperately seek. Only through him will you find freedom. So I'm like, again, they're holograms, but is there really a God? Is it a Christian God? What is it? I don't remember. I assume the story answers this specifically eventually, but I sure as hell don't remember. But anyway, they're like, you're one of us, and I know it sucks, but it's just how it is. They hear some rumbling in the distance. They're like, what the hell is that? So they all kind of run over and look. We get double page spread of, because it's Jim Lee, it's giant lizard monster wearing battle cat armor and some big weird alien monster thing in over-designed armor running around with a bunch of soldiers behind him. So it's like a big army. And they're like, you know, the new monsters are like, what do you see? And the main guy's like, nothing, just a passing feeling. Anyway, onward. So they all take off. And back with Faraday, he's like, holy shit, what was that? And Tobruk says, fear not, young Faraday. That is Archeron, dreadlord of the wrath, a most vile and pernicious murderer, a man who happens to be my brother. Okay. All right. So now we cut back to, I don't know why these two have been off by themselves. This is Devin and Jenny, Max's sister. And Devin's kind of like, he's a terrible character. He's poorly written. He's just kind of an obnoxious twat. He's not funny, although they try to make him the comic relief. He's kind of like a typical horn dog college guy, and he's always hitting on every hot girl, but he's always specifically hitting on Max's sister. And so they're off by themselves at some lake and some waterfall. And so Devin's in the water. He's like, come on, I thought you said you were going to jump in. And she's like, I was until I saw those dreadful boxers. She's got boxers with little hearts on them. And then so Devin, this is his real dialogue. It says, don't be such a buster. These are da bomb. Sides, who here owns all the big Bertha girdle undies? What the fuck does... Jesus Christ. So Jenny's like, don't tell me you've been going through my drawers. And he says, who, me? Okay, I admit it, but I was just looking for your diary. Come on, tell the truth. Did you or did you not have a crush on my professor? So she starts taking her clothes off. They're in their underwear, but I guess she's taking a t-shirt off. She says, okay, that does it, loser. You want the truth? He's like, yes. And she says, you can't handle the truth. Like, oh my God. Like, I know in real life we all kind of like make stupid movie quotes, but this is just really weird. It just reads terrible. It just kind of sucks. But the idea is that Devin, who's always flirting with this hot girl and he can never get her, she's taking her clothes off, at least mostly, to jump in the water with him. So he's like, sweet Christmas. And then his inner thoughts show a cartoony version of him hitting the jackpot. Okay, so she dives into the water and then pops right back up really close to him. So he's asking about her underwear because there's little bows and ribbons on it. He says, so what's up with all the little ribbons on the ruse? Ruse meaning under ruse. It's really fucking stupid. He says, I just don't get it. Is it to objectify the female form as some sort of gift or present? Or is it an evolutionary holdover from an era before the invention of the clasp, the underwear's appendix? Personally, I think, and then she cuts him off. She comes up right in front of him. She says, for a crass a-hole, you sure do think a lot, but honestly, Dev, it ain't your strong suit. He's like, I'm like, okay. Okay. This is a story of some type. So then there's like a heart around them. And she's getting up close. Now, they don't actually kiss as far as the visuals, but the dialogue kind of makes it read like they do. Because she says, nervous. He's like, what gave you that idea? And she says, oh, you know, the expansion of capillaries, the slight shaking in your extremities, the dilation of your pupils, you know, the obvious thing. And he's like, Jen, why? Like, why are you doing this? She says, for befriending Max, for saving his life, for generally rising above your base Neanderthal origins. So it kind of makes me think like she says that he saved her brother's life and she's grateful. So I would imagine that she did actually go up and kiss him a little, maybe, unless she just got really close. And so he suddenly stops and he's like, look, if we're going to go down this path, I just want to make sure neither of us gets hurt. So no surprises. Okay. So she takes his glasses off and then she sinks down into the water and he's like, she says, no surprises. Are you sure? It is your birthday this week. And he's like, And so then she disappears under the water and he's like whistling to himself. So this is obviously implying that she's going down to fucking blow him. Like, seriously. And I'm like, I don't, sexuality in comics is fine. I'm like, all right. Why is this? The writing in this thing, I'm like, how is Jim Lee going to pull this off? Is it going to be weird? Yes, it is. We cut to these goofy, like, sex faces from Devin as he's, like, trying to focus on something else. He's trying to think of baseball stats because, again, you don't want to be over too quick, right, fellas? Right? We've all been there, right? It's not just me, right? Damn it. He's like, oh, man. He's like, nice. He's like, hey, no rough stuff. That hurts. So then you cut back to her. She's not there. She's over here. She says, who the hell are you talking to? I'm over here getting your present. Cut to a shot of him. He says, then what the hell is between my legs? And you look down through the water, and there's a giant lizard thing. Now, it's positioned right between his own fucking balls, like his legs here. But there's a giant thing in the water that was rubbing up against his junk. He thought it was a girl's mouth. Turns out it's a giant scaly lizard thing because this is a Jim Lee comic, and all the monsters are giant lizard things. So it goes up under him, and again, he's got a goofy look on his face. She's screaming, oh my God. Like, I kind of like the figure there. That's well done. Devin's like, help me, Jesus, don't abandon me. I'm sorry about going through your stuff. So she runs over to their gear. She says, hold on, I've got a weapon. And the guy's like, oh crap, don't shoot. She's like, oh, you of little faith. Let's see what happens when an IO issue handgun can do. Hold that smile. So she points this super gun, and he's like, don't shoot. And she does shoot. Boom. I like that drawing. I like that shot. It kicks her back on her ass, and the weapon hits right between his legs, almost blowing his nuts off, and he literally screams, ah, my nads. My nads. So then he's freaking out. He gets hit in the face with rocks, falls off Lizard Monster. Lizard Monster's going up to Jenny, gonna get her, but then suddenly Lizard Monster explodes. Boom. So now she's just sitting there up on the rocks on that beach, Lizard Monster thing, which is suddenly a lot smaller. I mean, way smaller. It was like a giant thing that they could ride like a horse. Now it's a lot, the scale kind of changed, but it's right between her legs. She says, I'm alive. Ew, I don't even want to get into the Freudian implications of this. I'm like, oh my God. So then the character, Brandy, who's kind of a boring idiot, but I kind of like this shot. I do kind of like this like future laser crossbow weapon he's carrying. That's pretty awesome looking. He's like, I'm afraid our position is now officially compromised. We're going to have to move out. I suggest you cover up, Ms. Faraday. We've got a long journey ahead of us. So, all right. The weird, jokey sex humor action scene is done, thank God. They're picking Devon up out of the water. Tobruk, he's getting Devon up. He says, you did good, little warrior. Riding a draken and living to tell the tale is no small feat. He's like, I'm going to puke. So they're like, all right, Brandy, he's like, what is more unusual is the draken is this far from the gates of hell itself. Exotica says, indeed, I sense the land is being poisoned slowly but surely. We must get to town and find out how badly the war goes. And with Archeron roaming the canyons seemingly at will, all may already be lost. Okay, so honestly, not much happened. They teleported to this alien world, and then it's just kind of like a chance to sit here and explain things. Like backstory on how the creation wheel come about, how we can now see that they're all holograms. We're going to get characters mad at each other. There's an alien guy riding a lizard, roaming the lands freely. We get the weird kind of creepy sex humor scene. We fight a giant lizard snake thing, and they're like, okay, we have to get going. Things are getting bad. Honestly, it wasn't like the worst issue. Like there's some good art in here. There's some stuff I really like. And I don't know. It's not very memorable. And when the writing ranges from just kind of okay to like, oh my God, that was really terrible. That was really poorly done. And who am I to talk? You know, it's Jim Lee, right? But I mean, no one's really kind of advocating that Jim Lee's a great writer. And he's never written again, at least alone, as far as I know. So I don't know. You know, it's kind of fine. You know, there's enough interesting art going on here that it's kind of fine, and enjoying it enough, but it's not exactly holding my attention where I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens next. It's just kind of like, where's this going to go? I don't think I care. But anyway, that's it. Divine Right number 6. This is kind of okay. It's kind of fine. So that's all I got for now. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time.